All day. Oh,
All right.
yeah, and I felt sorry.
Let's call this meeting to order. Um, One change to the agenda I'd like to make would be the Alachua County representative moved from the second position, the presentation, to the first position. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Long,
Second.
second from Commissioner Mazon. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye passes unanimously. Is Pastor Ian here? Yeah, he is. We'll stand for the invocation and stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards. And turn off your cell phone, Monty.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Oh,
Just to confirm. No problem. I won't.
there you go.
All right. Gracious and holy God, whether we are always aware of your presence or not, we are certainly grateful for your ongoing work in our community and in our lives. We're grateful for what summer brings, even when we have to run our AC more. We are mindful of the beginning of school around the corner, so we keep in our hearts and minds the students, parents, teachers, staff, and administrators who are preparing right now. And tonight we turn to you for guidance. Give us the wisdom to listen carefully, speak thoughtfully, see each other as part of this one great community. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. Okay. Commissioner Clark is feeling a little under the weather, so he won't be here today, and Mayor Martin is having to take care of some other business, so it's just this lovely crew you're left with. For presentations, Alachua County Emergency Management, and they didn't write your name down here, but I guess you can tell it when you come up to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Jen Grice. I'm the Director of Emergency Management for Alachua County. Thank you for having me here today. Is there a presentation? Okay. Is this on? It's not on. It's always the technology.
No, it's always the city manager.
I like playing practical jokes with clicker.
Well, good thing I memorized it. Just kidding, I did not.
Oh, that's
One
right.
second.
We swap, so when you advance the next slide and then it takes us back. You just keep going forward. We're happy to change the agenda. Sorry, Jack.
Oh, you're fine.
There you go.
All right. Again, good evening. My name is Jen Grice, Director of Emergency Management for Alachua County. Here to just give an overview on emergency management within Alachua County and how the city of Newberry bolts into the county operations. Is that going to advance? There we go. So our agenda, I'll just go over Emergency Operations Center operations, our jurisdictional liaison position, which is really paramount to how we communicate with our municipalities. Then we'll talk about recovery and mitigation, and then some public information and resources that are available to you as commissioners, and then also available to the residents and visitors of Alachua County and the city of Newberry. So this is our org chart when we activate the Emergency Operations Center. A lot of positions on here, but really the takeaway of this is that it really does take an entire village to coordinate a large-scale disaster. We have so many different representatives from all levels of government, from the private sector, nonprofit sector, everyone coming together to support our residents within Alachua County. So the jurisdictional liaison position is one of those key positions that we always activate when we have a large-scale disaster. And this is the position that coordinates all of our communication with all of our municipalities, including the city of Newberry. So our primary point of contact for this is Kevin Mangan with the city of High Springs, and our backup is actually your very own Dallas Lee. So both of them work hand in hand to communicate with all of our municipalities and with the Emergency Operations Center to make sure that all of our jurisdictions have what they need to make their communities whole again. So the one exception to this organization as far as representation from our municipalities is if we had an incident that was just occurring within your jurisdiction. So if we had, for example, a wildfire within the city of Newberry, we would want Newberry leadership to be part of that decision-making process because it was an incident specific to your jurisdiction. So that is one of those cases where when it's not a countywide disaster, we would look for that leadership from your folks internally. So what we expect from our jurisdictional liaisons is once per day we have a meeting where all of our municipalities and our constitutional officers get on the call. I give them an update, and then they really let us know, what their unmet needs are. What are the things that you need within your community to best recover? So here you can kind of see where that jurisdictional liaison fits into everything. So that top darker blue box, that is our multi-agency coordination and policy group. So that is made up of high-level county officials who have overall county-wide responsibilities. So from within the Alachua County BOCC, it's everyone from the county manager to the commission chair, assistant county managers, the fire chief, and then external from the BOCC is our sheriff, our health department director, and our school board superintendent. So all the folks who sit in that policy group have that county-wide responsibility. So they meet at least once per day, provide that high-level policy direction to me, and then I take that policy level direction and turn that into actionable objectives for everyone sitting within the Emergency Operations Center. From there, our jurisdictional liaison is giving all of that information to our municipalities. And this is really where, for our elected leaders in the room, this is where it's key to understand that it is your staff who should keep you informed. We have our jurisdictional liaison who does a great job of making sure that all of our city leaders have the information they need, but it is so important that they make sure that you stay informed. And that is really how you all get the information, is through your staff. So information sharing, at a minimum, our city managers or designees should share the following with us at least once per day. So office closures, modified services, any emergency orders like curfews, things like that, any sandbag or other distributions that you have planned, unmet needs and critical infrastructure impacts. And then the other big thing is resource requests. The county EOC is really the hub of getting you the things that you need to support your city. So if there is anything that you need, request it of the EOC. If we're not able to fulfill that locally, we will push that up to the State Emergency Operations Center for their fulfillment. And if they're unable to help, then it goes up to the federal government. But please just know that you're not in it alone. We are here as the County Emergency Operations Center to make sure that everyone succeeds. So let's talk about shelters. Love the city of Newberry, absolutely love the archery center. We are so grateful to have this facility, and we lead upon this facility every time we have a hurricane or high wind event, because we don't want to open our schools as shelters if we don't have to. It is such a hit to our community when we have to close down schools prematurely. We immediately create a childcare crisis. So we're really grateful to you all for the use of the Easton Newberry Archery Center. So when we do have to open shelters, we open that one and the MLK Center in the city of Gainesville first, And then for our folks who have special medical needs, we open the Gainesville Senior Center. We wait till at least one shelter gets to 75% full, and then we look to open one or two more. And this is really what I consider the fiscally conservative approach to shelter management. We don't want to open shelters throughout the entire county when we don't have the numbers to fill those shelters and limited staff. So we get to 75% and then we look to open the next shelters. Points of distribution. This is another thing that we do after a disaster. If we've had a large enough impact to where our residents need food and water, we have a position within the EOC called Food and Water, Emergency Support Function 11, who works closely with the jurisdictional liaison as well as directly with our municipalities to meet your food and water needs. So if you realize, hey, we're not going to have power back on, or our grocery stores don't have power, we need to get food and water to our community, you would reach out to our jurisdictional liaison or directly to ESF 11, and they will coordinate either a direct shipment from the state to your pod location, which for you all is City Hall, I believe. So right here, or you can get it delivered to the county's warehouse and then have your staff pick it up. But that is something that we are big on, making sure that our communities have the food and water they need post-disaster. So damage assessment, we initially do a public damage submission form. So the moment it's safe outside, we send out a blast text message to all of our residents to fill out information on the damages that they've received to their homes, and we really get a lot of reports that way. And then we take that information and validate it by doing damage assessments out in the field. And Alachua County, for the unincorporated areas of Alachua County, we use our codes and building folks. And I know for the city of Newberry, your staff have sat through training as well to perform your own damage assessment within your community and then report that information to the county. And what that does is really helps us get some of the declarations that help our community recovery. So damages to individuals' homes really helps us get that individual assistance declaration to be able to get money back into our residents' pockets. On the debris management side, the county worked closely with most of our municipalities to kind of do a joint RFP for debris hauling and monitoring contracts, and pretty sure the city of Newberry is a part of that as well. So post-disaster, if the debris is bad, we will engage our debris contractors and use them for our debris management activities. And then lastly, disaster recovery centers. So we don't know the full scope of FEMA disaster recovery centers in the future, if they will continue, but I can say here in Florida, the state has committed to continuing what they call a multi-agency resource center, which is like a disaster recovery center, but just not FEMA branded. So we will continue to make that available to our residents if we have a significant impact here in Alachua County. And as far as the facilities that we use for this, we really love to use our libraries because we have a library in every single municipality in the county. So mitigation, most of our municipalities participate in our local mitigation strategy. A lot of them will submit projects to be ranked for future funding opportunities. And really what that big funding opportunity is a hazard mitigation grant program. After the 2024 season, when we had Debbie, Helene, and Milton, the county received around $12 million worth of HMGP funds, and that money was distributed to our various jurisdictions who applied for that money, including the city of Newberry. Their utility feed project received about $3.3 million worth of funding. And so on that, the FEMA picks up 75% of that cost, and then the local jurisdiction. So in that case, the city of Newberry picks up 25% of that cost. And just, I like that graphic on the right, $1 invested in mitigation saves $13 in future costs. So mitigation is not the most quote unquote fun thing that happens in emergency management, but certainly the return on investment is there. All right, public information and resources. we have weather stem stations throughout the county, and the most recent one that we just installed is actually right here in Newberry at the East of Newberry Archery Center, and that's actually a live shot of that weather stem station feed. So that is always up. You can Google weather stem Alachua, and it will pull up all of the weather stem stations. And this is great when we have a high wind event. You can see real-time wind readings, precipitation readings, all of those things that you want to know to make decisions for when you want to pull your first responders off the road, when it's kind of like the time everyone needs to stay indoors. So it's just really great real-time information on what's going on within your jurisdiction. We also have text opt-in program where you can text the word Alachua or Alachua ESP for folks who speak Spanish to 888-777, and that will get you real-time updates when we activate the EOC. I will say you get the text message before we even post it on our Facebook or on our website. So it's the quickest, easiest way to stay up to date on what's going on with a large-scale disaster. And then lastly, when we have a large-scale disaster, we also activate our website, which is alachuacountyready.com, and we make sure that all of the information is posted there. So we love to get out in the community. There's only so much that government can do. So at some point, it really is on our residents to better prepare. And that's why we really make an effort to get out and spread the word about what our residents can do to prepare their homes, their families, their pets. So if you ever want us to come to any sort of event that you have here, or even speak with your staff, we would love to do that. The picture here, this is from a recent event we did at the Newberry Library. We did storm ready story time throughout the county, and we actually had folks from Newberry Fire Rescue read the children's book to the kids. So it was a really great event, and we love doing that stuff and getting out and talking to people of all ages. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
Well, thank you for coming.
Tony?
I got one. Yeah, so you said that like if Publix or any of our local grocery shops was to power down, you would. What about medication, like pharmacies?
So that can be a little tricky. What I will say is if someone has a severe medical need and they don't have their medication, that would be something to run up to the EOC, and we can work on that. We can work with our what's called ESF 8, Public Health and Medical. They have resources to get pharmaceuticals, or communicate with our state EOC that has contacts with the various pharmacy chains.
Any other questions? Any questions from the audience? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I hope you're not very busy this hurricane season.
Me too.
The next item is the Fire Master Planning presentation by Jason. That's not Jason. Jason, okay. Fire Chief, this is Jason.
Backwards to go forwards. There we are. All right, great. That's it. It intimidated it to starting. All right, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. I'm Jason Lyman, and I have the privilege of serving as your fire chief alongside some of the finest men and women in the fire service. Tonight, I'd like to discuss how we ensure emergency services continue to keep pace with Newberry's growth.
Mr. Mayor, before the chief gets started, I just want to take a moment and say that I'm very excited to be in this moment here. As mayor, I tried to get to this point many times and was never quite able to do it. This has been a conversation on the dais every single year. When does Newberry need another fire station? What's the population? Where does it need to be? All of these sort of vision casting conversations, and we've never had data and numbers and statistics, right, to help us guide that conversation. And that's what the chief is here tonight to present. And so I just wanted to say, I know that the dais has been trying to get here for about a decade. So just having the information to look into the future and see when these conversations and decisions need to be made, it's a huge achievement. I appreciate you, Chief, and the staff to help us get there. That's my comment, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it.
All right. So our primary goal for this presentation is to receive your feedback and direction. One of my responsibilities as fire chief is to look beyond today's demands and begin planning for the future needs of our community. Rather than jumping straight to a recommendation, I'd like to organize this discussion around 4 simple principles. What are we talking about? And that question is Newberry's long-term strategy for providing fire service. Why is this conversation important now? Because Newberry is the fastest growing community in Alachua County. When do we need to act? Well, we already have. We had to. It's our responsibility to prepare, but rather than asking, when will we need another station, we asked, when will today's level of service no longer meet tomorrow's demand? And finally, where should our effort be focused? The final decision will be in your hands, but the data that I will provide you is conclusive. My goal tonight is to walk you through the information, operational analysis, and independent research that supports our recommendation. So what are we talking about? At its core, this presentation is about ensuring that emergency services continue to keep pace with Newberry's growth. This isn't simply a discussion about constructing another fire station. A fire station is only one component of a much larger strategy. It represents the infrastructure needed to provide reliable services as our community grows. Every utility, every amenity, every department, and every service that this city provides is poised to grow. We recommend that we do the same for emergency services. Planning for that future means much more than selecting a building site. It includes identifying funding opportunities, planning for staffing, ordering apparatus years in advance, and coordinating construction with the city's long-term growth. These are decisions that take years to implement. They can't wait until response time begins to increase or development has already outpaced our ability to provide the level of service our residents deserve. Ultimately, this is about strategic planning, making thoughtful decisions today so emergency services continue to meet the needs of Newberry tomorrow. One important concept to keep in mind throughout this discussion is that emergency service demand doesn't simply increase as the city grows. It follows the growth. The demand that exists today doesn't go away. It remains while every new neighborhood, business, and roadway adds to it. Understanding where that growth is occurring and where it is headed is what drives our recommendations. If emergency service demand follows growth, the next question is, why does that matter? Well, public safety is one of the most fundamental services that a government provides. Residents and businesses may never need to call 911, but they expect help to be available if they ever do. As fire chief, part of my responsibility is to continue to evaluate how our community is changing and determine what will be needed to maintain the level of service that our residents and visitors require into the future. Fortunately, growth doesn't occur randomly or spontaneously. We can see it coming. Development follows predictable patterns, and by recognizing those patterns early, the city has the opportunity to make thoughtful, fiscally responsible decisions before growth begins to impact our ability to provide service. Our goal isn't simply to keep up with growth, it's to ensure that emergency service continues to keep pace with the community we are becoming. Let's look at what our data tells us. This heat map represents just over 5 years of emergency calls throughout the city. It provides a visual representation of where emergency service demand exists today. One of the most noticeable hotspots is located directly over our existing fire station. At first glance, that may seem unusual, but it reflects something that we experience every day. Many residents simply pull up or walk into the fire station looking for assistance. The station serves as much more than a place to house firefighters and apparatus. It is a community resource where citizens seek help with medical concerns, fire prevention questions, smoke detectors, public education, and many other services. Looking beyond the station itself, you'll notice another important trend. Areas that have experienced relatively recent growth have all experienced corresponding increases in emergency service demand. As Newberry residents began moving into Countryway, Newberry Corners, Newtown, Oak Park, Avalon Woods, etc., the calls began. That's exactly what we would expect to see. As new homes and businesses are added, emergency calls naturally follow. This reinforces one of the central themes of this discussion. Emergency service demand has a direct correlation to growth. The demand that existed before those developments remains, while each new neighborhood and business adds to it. Recognizing where those increases will be occurring allows us to plan ahead so emergency services continue to keep pace with our community rather than reacting after growth has already occurred. The question is no longer whether growth affects emergency service demand. We can clearly see that it does. The question now becomes, when will the fire department need to grow? Understanding where emergency service demand is moving is only part of the equation. The next question is, when do we begin preparing for it? And as I said, we already have. This isn't a new conversation. From what I understand, the possibility of a new station has been discussed for nearly a decade as Newberry has continued to blossom. Last year, Manager Marlowe tasked me with moving that conversation from long-term concept towards a strategic plan supported by operational data, independent analysis. The good news is that the work that has been underway hasn't required any additional funding, only time, research, and careful evaluation. To answer the question of timing, we approached it from 3 different angles. First, we completed an operational analysis of our department, evaluating several years of incident data, response patterns, development activity, and projected growth. Second, I sought guidance from experienced fire chiefs across the country through the International Association of Fire Chiefs to better understand how other communities are approaching long-range emergency services planning. And finally, the city had an exceptional opportunity to participate in an independent capstone study conducted by Florida State University's Reuben O.D. Askew School of Public Administration and Policy. That is a mouthful. Is that how you pronounce that?
But it does sound like they are an excellent school with just top-notch candidates.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Each evaluated the question from a different perspective. Together, they consistently supported the same overall direction. Our first step was to evaluate Newberry's current operations. We reviewed several years of incident data, and as shown with the previous heat maps, we plotted where emergency calls are occurring today. From 2020 to 2025, we have already experienced a 56% increase in call volume. We considered travel distances, response coverage, and the city's long-term development plans. We examined approved residential developments, commercial projects, and anticipated growth patterns. This map shows only residential projects and includes the number of people expected in each. With population projections calculated at 2.74 people per household, you can see that when these neighborhoods get built out, we will have a lot more residents to serve. Some of these subdivisions already have homes built, while some are still in the early phases. Next, I asked members of the International Association of Fire Chiefs whether there is a recognized population threshold for planning additional fire stations. The consistent response was that there is no fixed standard because every community is different. Every road system is unique. Every demographic segment of a population has individual needs and expectations. However, many chiefs represents the general rule of thumb of 10,000 residents per fire station. That means that one station can handle the needs of up to 10,000 people. When you exceed that figure, another station is needed. But population is only one factor. Call volume, travel distances, commercial development, road networks, and future growth are equally important considerations. Newberry's rapid growth, combined with our development patterns and the findings of our analyses, support continuing the process that has been initiated, even though vertical construction is not expected for a few years. Careful consideration of what will be necessary in the future gives the city the flexibility to build the right station in the right location at the right time. Waiting until the need is immediate removes many of these options. The final piece of our evaluation came through an unexpected opportunity. The city of Newberry was selected as a community partner for the Florida State University's Reuben O.D. Askew School of Public Administration and Policy graduate capstone project. Graduate researchers spent months evaluating Newberry's current fire service delivery system, projected population growth, development trends, response capabilities, and future service needs. All we provided the student team was operational data, background information, and answers to technical questions, allowing them to conduct an independent evaluation using their own methodology. While they approached the problem differently than we did, we arrived at remarkably similar conclusions regarding the need for additional fire protection infrastructure and the location. Having an independent academic institution validate our findings provides an additional level of confidence that this recommendation is grounded in objective analysis. Our final question is where? Where do we need to position ourselves to remain strategically situated? This map illustrates where Newberry's growth is occurring today and where it is expected to continue over the next several years. The greatest concentration of commercial development is occurring today, the greatest concentration of commercial development is occurring along the Eastern State Road 26 corridor. These projects will increase employment, traffic, and daytime population within our response area. We can already see the projects coming out of the ground in Highland Park and Tanglewood. Projects in the Eastern Corridor tally over 1,000 residential units times 2.74 and hundreds of thousands of square feet of commercial space. Additional projects north on 2741 represent thousands of new additional units, residential units, that will require services from our existing station. Together, these projects will represent an unsustainable demand on our current emergency services capability. These new businesses won't just serve the residents of Newberry. The commercial corridor will become a destination for people throughout western Alachua County. Residents of Jonesville, Tioga, and the western side of Gainesville are likely to choose a short drive west rather than traveling through Gainesville traffic for shopping, dining, and services. That's great for Newberry. Increased commerce benefits our local economy and creates opportunities for our residents, businesses, boutiques, and restaurants. At the same time, that increased flow will come with an amplified demand for emergency services. Our response capability must also account for the people who work, shop, dine, and visit Newberry, not just those who live here. Now, after evaluating all the variables, a logical location emerges. The city has received a land dedication for a piece of property on Northwest 202 Street on the north side of State Road 26. This location is well positioned to serve both the expanding commercial corridor and the significant residential growth planned for that area. It will also remove all of the eastern call load from the existing station so it can accommodate the increased call volume it will experience from projects to its north. Adopting this site will now allows future planning, budgeting, and design efforts to move forward in a deliberate and fiscally responsible manner. One of the reasons we're having this discussion today is because, as mentioned, projects of this magnitude require years of planning. The timeline shown is intentionally broad stroke as it's meant to illustrate the sequence rather than establish fixed dates. Planning for this project has already begun through operational analysis, site evaluation, and long-range strategic discussions. The next phase is to continue that work by identifying funding opportunities, refining project costs, and incorporating the project into the city's capital improvement plan. By approximately 2028, we would anticipate beginning the design process, issuing bonds or finalizing the funding source, and ordering a fire engine. Apparatus can have lead times of 24 to 36 months. They were up to 4 years, but that has begun creeping back down. So that order must occur well before a station opens. Construction begins around 2029 with the goal of placing the station into service in early 2031. This timeline allows the city to keep pace with growth rather than reacting after demand has exceeded our current capabilities. I'd like to put those golden shovels back in your hands sometime around 2029. Now, as we wrap this up, I'd like to come back to the 4 questions we started with. We asked, what are we talking about? Why are we discussing it? When we should begin planning, and where the next fire station should be located. Rather than relying on assumptions, we approached those questions from several different perspectives. We analyzed our own operational data and incident trends. We evaluated current and future development throughout the city. I sought guidance from fellow fire chiefs through the International Association of Fire Chiefs, and we had the incredible benefit of an independent analysis conducted by Florida State University. Although each approached the question differently, they all reached the same conclusion. The fire department needs to grow with our town. The recommendation tonight isn't to build a fire station. The recommendation is to continue planning now so that Newberry has the fire station it needs when our community needs it to be there. Fire stations can't be planned, funded, designed, staffed, and built overnight. They require years of thoughtful planning and deliberate investment, not to mention the training of paramedics, drivers, and company officers. By continuing that process that has begun, we preserve the city's ability to make sound financial decisions, identify outside funding opportunities, and coordinate with future development and construct the right station in the right location at the right time. So I suppose the final question I have for you is, do we have your direction to continue moving forward?
Thank you, Chief. That's very good. Is there any questions, gentlemen? Yep. Oh, a little early. I got a couple. The one thing is the call volume. Now, is that based on fire, or is that fire and emergency services?
That's everything, fire and
Everything.
EMS.
Now, is it normal? I mean, I can understand a fire truck going to a car wreck or something of that nature, but if somebody having a heart attack or stroke or something, do you also run a vehicle out
Yes, sir.
for that? And-
We're a licensed advanced life support provider, and we do first response. We just don't do transport. Alachua County does the transport.
But why don't, I mean, is that a normal thing? Is that what's done?
That is standard practice
is
throughout the
practiced
industry,
throughout the state,
throughout the country.
throughout the country? So they even do that in Gainesville, any ambulance that goes out, they have a
Yes.
fire response too?
For some calls, you wouldn't expect a big fire apparatus to go out, but those
Yes.
people need to travel with their toolbox, and that's their toolbox. So when you need assistance on, say, something as mundane as a lift assist, somebody fell down,
Right,
the engine goes to that call.
okay. The other thing is, I mean, it all sounds really nice and everything, and it really does, but there's always a question of where's all the money coming from to pay for all this?
That's going to be part of the planning process that we need to continue, and that's why I'm asking for your permission to continue so we can identify those sources.
Yes, sir. What's our current fire assessment fee?
$300 per resident.
300? And proposal possibly going up to over 400.
Well, you've said the maximum at 419. We haven't had the
Right.
discussion yet this year.
Now, the county's fire assessment fee is $132.47. How come theirs is so much less than ours?
Mr.
No.
Mayor, the county's fire assessment is not a flat fire assessment like ours is. It's unit-based, so there's scales with the size or value of the home. So it's $132 per unit, but your house can be anywhere from 1 to 5, 6 units, depending on the size.
Okay, because,
If you compare our fire assessment to the county's, and I don't have off the top of my head, there is a break-even point with
Yeah.
the size of your house where it becomes more beneficial in our fire assessment.
I have $132.47 per partial. Is that not correct?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'd have to look at that. That may be the base charge, but I do know that it's based off of a unit calculation.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I think it's very hard to compare it because it is based off of unit, square footage, what you're doing. So the counties, I think if you did their system, there's always winners and losers in each system. But I know that the county fire assessment for most folks is on par or more than what ours is. There was a lot of headlines two years ago about, because they had to go up on their fire assessment like we were all having to go up on a fire
Right.
assessment.
Yeah, this is just from like a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. Now, one time we had talked to the county about joining them and become partners with them in fire control, fire. Is there any dialogue or anything currently going on between you and the county?
No, Mr. Mayor, my direction from this dais has been pretty clear. We want to bring our fire department up to the Newberry standard. And that's been our focus. So I would not engage in those conversations without clear direction from you guys to tell me to go do that. So we have not had any of those conversations. The last time we had those conversations, I don't remember, maybe 10 years ago,
It's been a while.
about in there. I know that High Springs just had that conversation, and I'm trying to remember how that conversation went. I think that there was a little bit of pushback from the county about them even accepting the community in. So I'm happy to go back and rewatch that meeting because I do remember the chief who is outgoing expressing some concern about even taking on the responsibility, but
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to look into it and see what kind of proposal they could come up with, or we could come up with them, just to get an idea of whether it be beneficial to the citizens of Newberry or not.
I mean, if the request is getting data and information, I completely agree. Never hurts to know numbers. I would say that I need to hear that from the dais because the direction so far has been pretty clear. So if the commission would like to direct me and the chief to go and have a preliminary conversation, see if we can bring back what that would even look like, because right now I couldn't sit here and even guess what that would look like, right? Is that what the commission?
I mean, that's what I would like to see. I'd like to at least get a comparison or something to, before we put ourselves in such a situation in debt to build one or two more fire stations. I think we could at least approach the county and talk to them about it. Man, we not yet, almost. We just so we all to build a new fire station and to fund it, and along with additional personnel, along with the cost of that money's going to be coming from somewhere.
Ms. Mary, I don't want there to be any 100%, between first responders, between fire and police, that generally represents close to half of a municipality's budget. So I agree, and expanding community will. I think that we have 5 years, that's 5 appropriation sessions to go to Tallahassee and seek help. That's 5 years for grant funding. We've been very successful with grant funding. So, but I still, even with that, I am not hiding that fire is expensive, right? Insurance is expensive, gas is expensive, apparatus is expensive. So your point is well taken. I'm not arguing that.
Right.
One of the reasons why we're here today is because we realize there will be funding issues. And that's why I think this is not too early to have this conversation, because we need in the next 5 years, if the commission directs us to do this, that's the same 5 years that the two-way pairs, the 2 water towers, all of that's the wastewater treatment plant, all the same people who are managing those grants, all the same people who are managing those projects will be managing this project. So 5 years is a doable time frame, but it's a decent, achievable. If we had 3 years to do this, I'd be sweating down here. I'd be saying, guys, I don't know we can hit that, right? 5 years, I believe in us, we can hit that, right? Because we do need to go find the funding. But I'm happy to go have that conversation. And again, I just need, right now, the direction I've been given is pretty clear. So I need to hear.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'd like you to at least take a look at it. I mean, that won't do any harm to just talk to them and then see what they say. Commissioner Long?
Well, my first thing, this is about planning. Simple. We want to see what our fire department can come up with, because the work of service that you guys provide can't be overlooked. With the growth we have in Newberry, as you can see, all the developments we have, the commercial properties we have, there's quite a bit of stuff, and the amount of service we need has to be a focal point. Just because you get the county to take it over doesn't mean you get the service, doesn't mean you get it cheaper, doesn't mean you get any better quality than what you have that you've already fought for since when Mayor Freddie Warmack was here. So I believe giving them the opportunity to figure out what's the plan for the next 5 years. It's not a rush decision. It's not something we have to get done right now. It simply is planning. Let's plan, let's see what they offer, let's see what we have before we get rushed to say we're gonna give it up. And then we gotta go backwards when it's something more than what we already have with the amount of services and the community input that the fire department gives us. With the splash part, with all the stuff they give, you may not get that with the Lachlan County. So I'm not 100% ready to say let's give up on our fire department because the fees may be more. Quality of service is gonna cost. I don't care what you do. Quality of service is cost. And we can't always run from cost just because it's something that may happen. We have to look at it and be very forthcoming about it. But at the same time, let's be patient and understand there's help that we can get for it and there's outlook that we can have. But this simply just planning. Let's see what they have. Let's see what they can give us. And then let's start making decisions on going forward. But I don't want to sit here and say, let's go look somewhere else because money come talking. We'll do that for every department then. We always worrying about money. We got to look and see what opportunity they can provide for us. You know, Newberry is growing. We want to have the level of service to go with this growing city. You know, I don't always just want to say, well, money's too much of an issue. We wouldn't have the roundabout. You know, we would have just worried about money being the cost. That's the first thing people complained about, the cost of the roundabout. Yeah, but people die. People get in accidents. We can't always run for money just because you don't want to spend. We have to worry about the quality of service that we provide the city and the look of the city. The city is growing and it looks beautiful. You know, my mom was happy to see that roundabout. So I don't want services to be something we always take a back seat to. It has to be something we're very important about it and we take pride in it.
I mean, I agree. I don't want to, I'm not saying we need to do away with the fire department.
I just say this is simply
I'm
planning.
saying that
That's
we
all
need
we're
to look
doing
at
right
all our
now.
options. We need to put all our options on.
But I at least want to see what they offer first. What numbers we have. You know, last year was my first time seeing the fire assessment. I saw how that went. But people didn't pay attention to the 3 years it didn't go up. So you don't get credit for what you don't do. They only give you credit for what you do. So
The roundabout was paid mainly by the county, so.
but people don't talk about that stuff. But it's the level of service we want to provide. So all I'm saying is let's give them opportunity to plan it, and then let's go down that road. If it's too much, then we got an opportunity. But right now, let's get an opportunity to show us what they can plan.
That's what I'm asking for, opportunity to see all the options. Any other commissioners? Any comments from the public?
Mr. Mayor, before we go, so one, I'm not asking for a decision tonight, right? I do think that this is something I need a decision, clear direction on, because if you guys say, yes, chief, 202, that's a good location, right? We want to continue to provide the same level of service. Well, that decision from the dais has consequences that we won't feel for 2, 3, 4 years down the line, right? That means that in this next legislative cycle, we're going to put this as a top priority. We're going to go up to Tallahassee and we're going to say, this is what we need, right? This is our plan. That means we're not going after something else, right? If we're successful and we get that money, right, then we're going to continue spending that money, engineering, designing, all of those kinds of things. What is always difficult in this role is you guys make decisions that we don't get across the finish line for 4, 5, 10 years, right? We've been working on ag tech for a decade, and we could have given up at any point in time, but you guys stuck with it, and now we have Harvest Singularity, $60 million in investment in our community, right? That one win right there, which is about to be doubled because they're going to build another farm, made that whole 10 years worth it. You guys said 10 years ago, the last time we had this conversation, you said, no, we want a community fire department, we want it, and we're going to invest in it. And in that time, you have supported the fire department year after year, budget after budget, to the point where we have a brand newly built fire station, we have brand new apparatus, we have brand new all kinds of things. Y'all have never backed up, you've never wavered, you have stood up to the public when they complained about the fire assessment. You said, because the public showed up that day and they said, we want a Newberry Fire Department. We said, this is what it costs, right? And you guys have never backed up on that, right? And I appreciate that because that is very, very rare from an elected dais, right? Usually there's a lot of pressure to back up on those things, right? But the decisions we make right now for 5 years down the line, 3 years from now, we will have expended money and tons of staff time on that vision. So I think take all the time you need in this moment, because if you change your mind 3 years from now, after we've done all that, then I'm going to be irritated. Right? But right now, all the decision, all the time we can talk about it that you want. But once we set the course, then we're going to be on that course and we'll have expended monies and time to get that. Right. So if you want to have the conversation and get the data, I think now is the time to do that. If you're not interested in that, fine. Right. But now is the time to get as much information as you want. Once we do answer the chief's question, then we'll be on a path. Right. And then it will be hard to change course without wasting all the money and time that we had put into it.
Okay. Commissioner Coleman?
I 100% want to keep the Newberry Fire Department, but I'm not, that's personal. I'm not doing justice for my citizens if we don't at least find out where Alachua would do this. I mean, but they'd have to sharpen their pencil big time. I mean, we're one thing about being a Newberryan is our fire department. Well, it's the biggest thing we're really proud of, and that would hurt big time. But then again, we're not doing our citizens fiscally any justice if we at least don't find out where their number's at. That's all I got.
Right, I agree with you. And there was a time when we had our own cable system, we had our own waste pickup. We did everything, and it became to a point where it was financially better for the citizens for another entity to take over it. So I'm just trying to see what kind of options we have. I'm not suggesting that we shut down the fire department at this time or anything like that. I'm just wanting to know what options we do have. That's all.
Mr. Mayor,
Well,
go ahead.
Well, me personally, I don't have any numbers for nothing right now. So I don't even want to even assume Alachua County can do better, until I can see what our fire department can do first. I mean, to me, that's the priority. Give it to them first to let them show what they can give us before we start looking elsewhere, because it's more than just trash picker. It's a community engagement. Our fire department is built with our community. It's more just about a service. It's the people that they provide service to. It's more than just trash pickup or cable services or any other service. Our police department, if we had one, would have been the same thing, but the fire department is priority. Our quality and safety has to be a priority. And you can get a cheaper service probably with Alachua County possibly, but you may not get the same level of service. And like I said, until we can see what our fire department can offer us funding-wise, I would say let's go see that option first before I say that we have to go down another rabbit hole.
I'll go along with that.
Yeah, and we did have our own police department one time too.
Yeah, I wasn't born then.
No, you weren't. Probably weren't.
Could I offer this as a compromise? Because I think there's two questions. There's this question about information and data, and then there's the chief's presentation, right? And what we need is some direction on both, right? So let's just imagine for a second that that question's not on the table right now, and this presentation is on the table right now. Because what we need is, what is the response of that general path? Eastern, Newberry, commercial corridor, 202 gives us 30-second access north-south, immediate access north-south, 30-second access east-west, right?
30 seconds.
From that spot to 226, right? The fire truck can be there in 30 seconds. We've got 4 directions we can go, right? It is $865 roughly a call. So if the Alachua County service comes into Newberry, we pay them. If we go into their territory, they pay us. Right now, they pay us more than we pay them, right? Being on the east probably means we can capture and protect some of that revenue coming in. We plant a flag in that area. So I need some, if we are moving forward with our own, I need some of that kind of direction. Yes, you're on the right track, Chief. I like the Eastern corridor. That makes a lot of sense. 5 years is a good timeline. We think we can accomplish that. Gives us plenty of time to go for grants. So hold the incorporation question for a second and give us some feedback on the actual.
Well, I would speak on the eastern, based off Tanglewood, all the commercial, and all the regional development we got going that direction. You know, that's the major focal point coming into town, and having that coverage covered and going that way is years down the road. So I think we have pretty much this side covered, but out east is the closest coverage we need, you know, in my opinion, based off what we have. And Tanglewood is how many homes? 600. Yeah. Yeah. 550 to 600. And then that's Highland Park already behind them, so it's quite a bit of properties, you know. So I think that's a
Between
good
the
look.
two, it's a little over 1,000 homes.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely needed, covering that.
There's also a section of Newberry taxpayers, the way our dispatching procedures work now, it's closest unit. So there is an Alachua County Fire Station that's closer to Newberry residents. So we're second due in that area. Their first response is, right now, comes from Alachua. If we were further east, it would come from us.
It's a quicker response.
To the question of how much does it cost, we can't answer that because a lot of that's up to you guys, right? Do you want, what kind of station do you want? Alachua County just built one for $6 million.
In 2017, they spent $299 a square foot. 2021, it went up to $542 a square foot. 2025, $593, and 2026, they're expecting for the new one in the tech park, $680 a square foot.
An engine is $1 million now with about
Fully
a
equipped
3-year
engine will be $1
lead
million.
time, right? So there's things like that we can give you in today's dollars, but I can't tell you what it's going to be 5 years from now, right? And there's just a lot of policy decisions that you guys would have to make that could reduce those costs, right? Like you guys recently purchased a house. It's not where the next one needs to be, but the third fire station won't necessarily need sleeping quarters. It will just need. So you've made decisions already that could greatly benefit the future and save some money. But it's too nebulous right now for me to even try to predict what the costs are. Our construction costs are going up so fast. You just heard within a 5-6 year period, more than doubling, right? So I can't tell you those kinds of answers. I can tell you that 5 years of appropriation request, that would put our local delegation in senior positions right when we need them the most. So again, the stars are aligning here for us well. Just like the dedication of the property, that was almost the hand of fate saying, this is where you need to be, and someone coming and saying, I will make it easy for you to get this 1.5 acres right where you need it to be. So,
Commissioner Coleman?
I don't see many portables like you used to. Is that just, they're building these fire stations instead of putting portables there? Now, I can't say that for Lafayette or Swanee because they're so far out. But is that just the norm, or is that a way that we can still save the city if we wanted to go with portables?
It's possible, but like you've implied, a fire department is part of a community's identity, and the building that they're in is part of the city's
Right.
image. So it depends on what you want the city's image to be to attract new residents into all these new homes, especially at our entry corridor. There's a lot of ways this can go. Ocala is building a $12 million fire station. We would not imagine coming at you with something like that.
I'm in Marion County 2 or 3 times a week, and that's they pretty much got rid of all their portables. It
Yeah.
seems like it's crazy.
It takes time. Those fill an immediate need. That is what happens when your growth outpaces your service delivery. You drop a portable in a lot, and you do it until you find something, or the funds to build something permanent. I believe we can build something modest that fulfills our needs and also is part of the city's image in a positive way for a reasonable figure, not even close to 12 million or the grant. The city, the county is building stations for planned growth. They're big stations. They can fit several apparatus. I think they have 12 bunk rooms. They're really very nice well-thought-out stations. I would propose facilities that are constructed to facilitate growth easier so that it's not a challenge to add on when we have a larger need in the future.
So, Mr. Mayor, the end of my compromise is if you can give us that feedback and tell us that we're on the right path, if this is the right path, if we're keeping it, right? Then I would propose to Commissioner Long that we at least have a preliminary conversation. I don't even think it's Theus anymore. He's retired with the
Correct.
acting.
It's Chief Taylor now.
So we'd have a preliminary conversation. We can report back on that preliminary conversation, and we can make that part of the data gathering here, because that's really where we're at this point, right? Data gathering. The first data that staff needs is this the right path? Eastern, 5 years, those things look good. Those things look reasonable. It gives us plenty of time, plenty of opportunities to go after grants and appropriations, right? We keep working, right? I think we plan, and then we keep looking for opportunities, but we don't stop what we're doing to have all these, because 2031 is right around the corner.
Yeah, I'm okay with him going forward and looking into whatever they can do. But on the other hand, I also think we need to keep our options open and see what's out there. And, I'm not really keen on turning anything over to the county, but on the other hand, you got to consider what's most cost efficient, and I don't think the services will suffer underneath the county. I don't know why it would, but
And I just remembered when we did this 10 years ago, I want to say that the county's proposal was about $100,000 less than what we ran it for. And in my mind, that makes sense. The county is larger. They have economies of scale. They can handle overtime and those kinds of things a little bit better. But I don't want anybody to think that there's a massive, it costs us, and I'm just making this number up, $2 million. They can do it for $1 million, right? The last time we looked, the numbers were relatively close, but that's been 10 years ago at this point. So I can't speak to what they are now. And,
right. That was with our current situation at that time.
right.
But with the proposal of another 1 or 2 fire stations and stuff, and all the additional personnel, are we gonna, I agree we need to plan ahead, but on the other hand, do we need to spend all that money if you've only got 9,000 citizens?
But you're also not accounting the citizen growth.
Right, but how many houses we build a year?
Well, our population projections, right, which are always a crystal ball, but if we keep growing the way we're growing now, we'll be over 12,000 in 2031. So we'll be 2,000 more than what the metric says we should be, which again is kind of why we're having a conversation now.
Right.
So it wouldn't be, if we were here today saying, hey, we got to do this tomorrow, I'd say no, right? We're at 9,500, right? Your own metric was 10,000, but by the time we'll have this done, we'll be well over when we're supposed to be thinking about the second one or having the second one.
And the level of commercial would be a lot more. So I just think them going forward right now is the best plan right now. Planning it.
I'm okay with that. I'm just, as long as we look at other options. Any other comments?
Do you want to open it to the public or the deputy chief? You got any comments?
I was asking the commissioner if they had any more comments.
He made his way all the way up, so. And then I will take an opportunity just to summarize what I heard, so I'm doing what you guys are telling me to do.
I know we don't plan on emotions, and that's not what we use to make our decisions, but I've been here 29 years. I've been through several of these conversations, and I will say that these are morale killers in the fire department. We just watched High Springs go through it. They lost a tremendous amount of employees. Talked about, doing it cheaper. And these employees have been with us for 30 years, 25 years, 27 years. They could have left and made a lot more money in their career and their pensions, and they stuck with the city of Newberry. All I ask is that we're careful with these decisions, or even the comments, because those run through the fire department like wildfire, and employees rightfully become very protective of that. They have families that they're raising, they got kids that are in school, and all of those things. So these conversations do affect the morale in the fire department that we believe is on an upward trajectory. That's all I ask, just as an employee with the city of Newberry for 29 years, like I said, that have been through several of these conversations. I never enjoyed them at all. So that's all I ask.
Hi, Greg Green. I just have a question and comment of support. I think they do a great job. If I can catch them in Hardee's or someplace for breakfast, I do try to buy them breakfast because they do great work for us. And if it is close, I think we do need to keep them local. I just have a question, mostly for my edification, because I'm not quite sure how that process works, but how do the impact fees play into this? Do they not support financing this? Because isn't that what the future growth is creating? So just curious.
So I'm going to answer that question, Mr. Mayor, if that's all right, and then I'll summarize. So right now you have two impact fees. You have streets and roads. That doesn't help. You have public facilities. That does. So, and I think that as long as the commission doesn't back up on those impact fees, which again have a standard increase that's kind of built in, then you have to redo a study to actually go beyond that, right? As long as y'all don't back up, I think that the public facilities impact fee will go a long way to supporting this, which is why I'm always confident in our ability to fund the things that need funding. Because at the end of the day, the growth of Newberry is going to be the thing that offsets, right? As long as we're making sure that new people coming are paying their fair share for the infrastructure, right? Existing residents who don't need this second station, they shouldn't be tasked with the cost of it. Now, the operations is different, right? But the capital outlay, existing residents have paid for theirs. So the public facilities can, but public facilities is more than just fire department. So it's all public facilities, city hall, bathrooms and parks, all those kinds of things. So we want to ensure that that public facilities impact fee is enough, not just to cover the fire station. There also has to be some room in there for the other public facilities that will be needed. So that's my best answer to that question. I want to summarize what I heard, and I think I would ask the chief and the deputy chief to pass this summary on because I think it speaks to the morale. So what I heard tonight was simply a request for information and data, no action towards incorporation or anything. In fact, what I heard was 4 commissioners. Commissioner Mazon's been pretty quiet down there, but he was nodding his head. I heard 4 commissioners say that they love having a community fire department. They would fight to keep it, right? But they need to know what the numbers are out of due diligence. That's what I heard. But I heard 4 public elected officials express their support and their appreciation for the Newberry Fire Department. And I heard 4 say, I'm going to fight to keep it, but I need to know the numbers. And I heard you guys say, have a preliminary conversation with the guy whose name I've already forgotten, but I'm going to figure out the chief is going to introduce me there, right? And then we're going to continue on the plan that the chief has been working on, and we will update the commission how that conversation goes. And if it's significant enough to have another conversation, we'll have it. If it's not significant enough, because again, the county could say, guys, it's property tax to go away in November. We're not taking on anything, right? Everybody's on their own, right? And it may be done. And I think we have an answer to the Alachua County's fire assessment in a note that I'm not following. So you're going to have to just explain it.
Mr. Mayor, I have 2 answers for you. One, the study from 2014, when we did the consolidation study, at that time, Alachua County Fire Rescue would cost another $148,000 to operate over what the city of Newberry was operating the fire department for. Again, to your point, that was 2014. On the fire assessment, the way the county charges their fire assessment is there is a base fee. And I closed it out, but it's about $132 base fee. And then it's $7.28 for every EBU, which is a equivalent benefit unit. So every $5,000 of assessed value you have, you pay an additional $7.28. So at a house that's valued at $115,000, anything above that, you would pay more than our $300 fire assessment.
Always good. I knew it was 100,000, but I had it reversed in my head. So we're actually doing a good job, guys.
Mayor, and this is what also bothers me about the county. Nothing against the county on this, but we're looking at a second building and a level of service. Who's to say that, oh, we gotta hand it, we're gonna hand it over to the county? You hand it over to the county, they might not be, it's like, well, we're not gonna put in another fire station. There goes your level of service. There goes all the extra things that they do. That's why, no, they'd have to do wonders and thunders for me to, but I guess stay the path.
Okay, I was trying to stay quiet, man, because I love our fire department. We've invested in them. I say we move forward. I'm going to be honest with you. I can care less about looking at rates from Alachua County because our community has already spoken. They've already said they want to invest in our department. So I say we move forward with our department. That's just my belief. I was trying to stay quiet down here, but, you know, I don't want to come off aggressive, but I see what those guys do every day. And they invest their time, and honestly, they can leave Newberry and go somewhere else. So I don't want to dip out right now and say, hey, if we can get a better contract with our citizens have already spoke. So now that they've spoken to me and us, I say and Chief came up here and gave a phenomenal graph and direction. I say, I stand by that 100%. I say move forward. 5 years, I say, let's go. Newberry, let's go. We can build another one, let's go. I'm down with it. So that's where I'm at.
Any other comments?
Not to harp on it, but now I'm confused. Well, because the compromise was have the preliminary conversation, but now I just heard two commitments say don't have the conversation.
Who said that?
I thought that's what you just said.
Yeah, I just said that, but who's the other one?
Yeah, Commissioner Long wasn't interested
My main goal is
in the Long,
Yeah.
and then Commissioner Coleman seemed to
Tolerate.
imply right there that you're not. I'm happy to have the conversation. I'm happy to not have the conversation.
Well,
I am not teeter-totting.
You're not.
I am not
No.
teeter-totting right
Commissioner
now.
Coleman was saying that about himself.
I am.
He
I
was
was.
saying because he wanted. So
I am, I just would.
I want to make sure I'm doing what you guys are directing me to do. But now without Commissioner Clark here, where it seemed to be 2-2 or
No, we're not. But here's the deal. You know, you go say, okay, yeah, I want to sell my house, but, and maybe it's the appraiser in me. I'm like, well, I do want to know the true number. I mean, do you see where I'm at?
So the
But
compromise,
do I want Alachua County to have anything in here? Heck no. There's where I'm at.
I got it.
You got it.
I got it.
Okay.
I don't need the number, but
I don't need the number.
Let's just say we're 3-1 without Mark. So go on with Newberry right now.
I'm with Newberry. Newberry first. And I like his presentation. Let's go. That's just where I'm at.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the direction.
Moving on. We have consent agenda. Can I get a motion regarding the consent agenda? Oh, wait a second, I missed public announcements.
Yes.
Are there any public announcements? In like 2 minutes for anything? Seeing none, consent agenda. Need a motion on the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion of Commissioner Long, second Commissioner Coleman. All those in favor? Passed unanimously. And we're moving on to number 6, public hearings and ordinances. And Madam Attorney, can you read the resolution into the record, please?
Yes, Chair. This is Resolution Number 2026-34, a resolution of the City of Newberry, Florida, determining the proposed ad valorem millage rate, computing the rolled-back millage rate, and setting 2 public hearings for adoption of the fiscal year 2026-2027 millage rate and budget, providing authorization and direction to the city manager and to the chief financial officer, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. And presentation by Dallas.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Tonight's action before you is to adopt the proposed millage rate for 2027. This is the highest millage rate that you can adopt as part of your budget process in September. Typically, we've had some budget workshops by now, so we've had a little bit of discussion on your proposed millage rate. Unfortunately, we're behind this year because of the state's budget process. Additionally, the state has made changes to your ability to adopt millage rates. Historically, the city has recommended that you adopt the simple majority cap. In the past, the simple majority cap was 110% of your existing millage rate. The state changed that this year and removed the simple majority cap and set it to the rollback rate. So anything above the rollback rate will require a supermajority of the city commission to adopt in September. That being said, we're going to request tonight that you set your proposed millage rate at 6.000 mils, which is slightly above your existing your existing millage rate of 5.88 mils. Staff does not propose a millage rate increase this year, but this is to just give some wiggle room for the commission to make any decisions through the budget process as we go through the budget workshops coming up. Your rollback rate, for your knowledge, is 5.5515. And your supermajority cap this year will be 6.1067. And again, we're proposing that you set the proposed millage, or the maximum you can use this year, at 6 mils flat. Happy to answer any questions.
Does the commission have any questions for Dallas? What is the desire of the commission?
So moved. Second.
To follow Dallas's recommendation?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to reiterate for the public, this is not the millage rate. This is just the cap. We work down from there, right? But it gives us wiggle room if Tallahassee throws a curveball tomorrow. They never do that, obviously. They're always well planned out.
We have a motion from Commissioner Long, second from Commissioner Coleman. Is there any questions from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Next we go into the quasi-judicial procedures. Resolution number 2026-33. Do we need to go ahead and have the that read into the record before we do the quasi-judicial stuff? Okay.
This will be resolution number 2026-33 for petition number SD 26-05, a resolution of the City of Newberry, Florida, approving construction plans for Avalon Woods Phase 5B subdivision, consisting of approximately 9.74 acres identified as portions of tax parcel numbers 01897-008-000, 01874-310-000, and 01874-320-000, generally located east of U.S. Highway 41/State Road 45 and west of the Easton Newberry Sports Complex, providing for reimbursement for certain public infrastructure, providing an applicability clause, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. In the consideration of time, I'll have the manager read the quasi-judicial procedure.
Happy to, Mr. Mayor. So we are entering quasi-judicial procedures. This means the commission will stop being a legislative body and become a judicial board. This means that we have to follow certain rules, and here too this different standard of decision-making. The primary rule must follow concerns testimony and substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. This standard states following, and I quote, all public testimony taken under oath, everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination, all documents to be entered into evidence, giving opinion testimony is limited to experts. Closing arguments have been limited to the evidence of record. City attorney already read into the record the ordinance, so at this point I'm going to ask the clerk, please swear in the applicant, staff, and any participants who are requesting to speak.
Please raise your right hand and state your name.
Jordan Marley.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Oh, I'm sorry, you gotta swear. Yeah.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You've been duly sworn.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before we begin, we need to disclose any ex parte communications, disclose whether any member physically inspected the property, ex parte communications, or any conversation, transmission of information that may have bearing or influence on any voting member's decisions. Mr. Mayor.
None. None for me?
None.
Thank you, sir. Now, explain the order of presentation. We'll follow for every quasi-judicial item for us. We will start with staff overview, then the applicant has the opportunity to make a presentation. No time limit, staff report recommendation, also no time limit. Nobody's contacted us requesting third-party intervener status. So that's going to move us to public comment. Any members of the public will have 3 minutes to speak to the dais. The applicant may then cross-examine. Staff may cross-examine members of the decision-making body. Through the chair may ask questions of the staff, applicant, party interveners, and the participants. Final arguments may be made by the applicant, party interveners, and the staff related solely to the evidence and testimony presented at the hearing and introduced in the record. The city attorney will advise the decision-making body applicable law and factual findings that must be made to approve or deny the application. Deliberation of the application. After deliberation, the vote will be taken to approve conditions, continue, or deny. Mr. Mayor, that's the presentation will follow.
Thank you.
I'll pass that down to.
Good evening. Lauren Yetter, Community Development. I am not Jamie Jones, but I'm happy to give a general presentation. Applicant is also here, and Mr. Jones is here to answer any infrastructure questions that might be more difficult for me to answer. Okay, so this is for construction plans for Avalon Woods Phase 5B. Avalon Woods is a mixed-use development. So the question under consideration is, should the City Commission adopt Resolution Number 2633, approving petition number SD 2605 for Avalon Woods Phase 5B construction plans? And this is actually one of the last couple of phases in Avalon Woods. The recommended action is to adopt the Resolution 2633, approving the petition. The applicant is present. It is JB Pro. And owner as well. The proposed construction plans are for infrastructure improvements and 35 detached single-family lots within 5B. The zoning is mixed-use development. Let's see, and prior approvals actually date even most recently back to 2021, where there was an amendment to the mixed-use category. And then phase by phase, when construction plans came forward and platting was done with each of the phases in the last few years. And so this is the subject property. You can see it outlined in yellow. That's phase 5B. And this is the adopted preliminary development plan. And now the phase, it's outlined in that red dashed line. It's reoriented so that you see the north arrow at the right-hand side of the map. And here's the proposed layout. And again, staff finds that this request is consistent with the City of Newberry's comprehensive plan and land development regulations. And so the recommendation is to adopt resolution number 2633, approving the petition. Yes, sir.
Does the applicant have a presentation?
Good evening, Jimmy Jones with JB Pro. Don't have a presentation, but I do want to thank staff for the review and for the help during the permitting process. I'm here for any questions as need be.
Thank you. There's no third-party intervener. Any public comments? Does the applicant need to be cross-examined? Okay. Does staff need to be cross-examined? No. Members of the decision-making body through the chair may ask questions of the staff. Does the commissioners have any questions?
At one point, were these going to be commercials, or have they always been residential? Always? Always residential?
Do you have the map, Lauren?
And it was, I
Oh,
think,
hey,
phase
applicant should come
6.
up and answer him. Because of my memory may be wrong.
Let's see. Here we go.
That one doesn't help me. What is the one where you outline just the 5A? One more back.
That one.
Yeah, those, go ahead. I keep interrupting.
It's okay.
Introduce
I'm
yourself.
I'm Dave McDaniel from M3 Development. Thanks for having me here. So there's been various times over the years where this land was, could have gone commercial, could have gone residential. It's always had that flexibility based upon the MU zoning and how that program worked. And what we decided is to set aside, the original plan was 2 acres of commercial on the frontage, and we've decided now to set aside right around 7 acres, and the remainder will be our last phase of residential development in Avalon Woods. There's a handful of lots still, units still allowed in the planned, in the MU, but probably won't be able to fit them on the site, so. But the answer is, at one time, all of that land was for sale as commercial theoretically, but since no one came along, we developed it, so. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. So we couldn't get no one to buy that property for commercial. Is
Beg
that
your
why
pardon?
we're moving? So you guys couldn't get anyone to buy the property for commercial?
Correct.
So is that why we're moving forward?
Yeah.
with residential?
But in this layout here is not exactly correct. There's about 2.3 acres on the west side of 248th that is going to be set aside for commercial land.
This?
I probably can't. The pointer doesn't work. So if you see 16th Avenue, just south of that is 2 acres that's vacant, and then there's another 2.3, approximately the same size square that is further to the south. That is all going to be set aside for commercial use. Yeah.
And how many units again? I'm sorry.
35.
35? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you know how many acres were originally set aside for commercial?
Yes. It was 22 acres was the minimum required for the MU zoning, and we're now ending up with an additional 4.5 or so acres of commercial land from the original plan.
So you're talking about 24 acres of commercial property?
Maybe a little more than that. Yeah. And we're finally beginning to get phone calls on our signs. So, as you would expect, Newberry's blowing up, so.
Hey, Marlo. Hey,
Marlo.
well, because he may know, you may not. Let's see. My bad. Mayor Pro Tem. So when will we expect to see commercial being, or is there still that graph where so many commercials have to be built before we finish out the residentials?
That's a good question, and, I mean, it's kind of, I think everybody knows it already, but since you asked, I'll have the manager.
Yes, yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. So the applicant, remember what the commission directed was you get a percentage of residential, you get a percentage of commercial, right? And it was kind of staggered. So the land that's to the south is not represented on that map there. It's a roughly 20 acre that has shore builders. It has the storage unit on it. So staff has ascertained that they've hit the percentages of the commercial that they have. They've also, those lots that are north and south of the entrance to Easton are completely shovel ready to go. They're stubbed out. The wastewater, or not the wastewater, but the stormwater is captured in the basins that are existing there. So when commercial goes, it won't have to do anything. And I believe it's some insane, like 85% of it is buildable without needing anything else on there. Or is it 100%? 100%. So they've hit the commercial ratio the commission put already to the south of it, right? And they are ready to go when the commercial comes. And I think every buildable lot in Newberry is under a microscope right now from lots of different entities. So hopefully they'll have more to be bringing forth pretty soon.
Thank you, City Manager Marlo.
Okay, good job, Marlo. What number am I on here? Any final argument to be made by the applicant? Seeing none. The city attorney will advise the decision-making body as to the applicable law and the factual findings that must be made to approve or deny the application.
The commission needs to base its decision on the competent substantial evidence that was either presented to you tonight at the hearing or that's in the backup materials to your agenda.
Thank you. Any other discussion by the commission? None. Any discussion from the audience? None. After deliberate, a vote may be taken to approve.
So moved.
Second from Coleman. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to number 8. Do we need to read all this stuff again?
No.
Okay. Then we have a staff overview.
And first
Can
thing
you do this one also?
I will do is read this one
Oh, might
into
as
the
well.
record. This is resolution number 2026-25 for petition number SDP 26-04, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, approving a site and development plan and development conditions for a project known as YSU Self-Storage within the Highland Park Plan Development, consisting of approximately 3.13 acres, identified as Alachua County Tax Parcel Number 01932-005-000, located on the south side of West Newberry Road near the intersection with County Road 235, providing a repealing clause and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Have a staff overview, please.
Thank you, sir. Lauren Yetter, Community Development. This is for a site and development plan, number SDP 2511, resolution number 2625. So the question under consideration is, should the City Commission adopt resolution number 2625, approving petition SDP 2511 for a site and development plan and development conditions for a project known as YSU Self-Storage? So the recommendation is to adopt the resolution. Staff finds the petition, again, consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development regulations. The one condition for approval is regarding screening of mechanical equipment on the east side of the structures. So here's some site information. Oh. There we go. Here's some site information, the parcel number. Owner, it's within Highland Park. It's the plant, which is planned development, both future land use and zoning. The site itself is 3.13 acres, one of the larger lots in Highland Park Commercial. It's the first lot, the most southwestern lot in the commercial area. Next to that, the east of it is Advanced Auto. So the existing use, of course, is vacant commercial. It is proposed to be 3 buildings, with the main building being 3 stories, with a center drive that goes through, and loading that goes through, and a second building, a 1-story building with pull-up doors, and then the third structure is for RV storage, actually. So the overall square feet is 120,000 approximately square feet of indoor storage, and then about 7,500 square feet for the RV storage.
How much RV storage?
About 7,535 square feet for RV storage. And the whole project is proposed to be gated and screened. Let's see, so there's the site highlighted in yellow. As you can see, it's the first lot in the Highland Park Commercial, the most southwestern lot. And here's the overall proposed site plan. I'll zoom into the northern area. You can see the main entries at the northeastern part of the property, the parcel. That area outlined in the red dash line is one of the conditions. It's where the mechanical equipment will be stored or will be. And so staff recommendation is to have some screening, some hedges, just to provide a little screening from the public right-of-way. I'll zip through the building elevations because the architect is actually here to present as well. So that's the north and the south, west and east, and that's the one-story structure, and the landscape plan. So again, we found that this petition with conditions of approval are consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and the land development regulations. And the condition for approval is prior to the issuance of a building permit, that landscape plan will be revised to include the hedges for extra screening of the mechanical equipment. And the applicant is here to present.
Thank you. And the applicant would like to make a presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, staff, commissioners. Mayor Pro Tem, thank you so much. So I'm just going to give you guys a short run through and overview of the project here. Lauren's already given us a good description of the overall scope here. So this is our parcel that's on
Can
the...
you state your name for the record real quick before you get started?
Shane Batchelor, sorry about that. And I'm with Rapid Design Build. We are the architects of record for this project here. Shane Batchelor.
Shane Matthews.
Batchelor.
That's what I
thought I heard.
That's number 9.
It's just like in the degree.
You heard what
Yeah.
I heard. I was like, what's that name again?
It's pretty unusual, but it's a great name. All right, so this is our parcel here on the far western portion of the development here. It's about 3.13 acres. And as Lauren described before, so we're proposing to build a 3-story main storage facility. All told, this 3-story structure here is about 114,000 square feet. It is fully climate controlled, so all the units are accessed from the interior of the facility. We also have a smaller walk-up building that's over on the, sorry, there's no pointer here, on the far left or west side of this plan here. It's a mix between walk-up units. I don't remember the exact number, but then the remainder of the facility is also climate controlled, so those units are accessed from the interior of the facility as well. And then adjacent to the main building is the outdoor covered storage for RVs. So square footage wise, it's 7,535. However, that's just about 12 RV spaces that's provided there. The good thing about the way our facilities are designed is we try to provide an interior drive-through load-in. So everything occurs on the inside of the building. So you're not likely to see, trucks parked up on the outside. Everyone will pull into the actual facility, and all the loading takes place on the inside of the actual facility there for that 3-story. So continuing forward, this is our landscape plan here, and as Lauren mentioned, as part of the conditions for approval, we're going to be providing some extra screening for those units that are on the east side of the main building. So these are the elevations for the building. So this is the main 3-story facility here. And in crafting this design here, we did make sure that we adhered to the requirements that are put forward in your municipal code. So materials and finishes, as well as the actual design and layout for the building, all comply with those. And here are the other 2 elevations, so our southwest and our southeast, or the back side of the building here. This is a smaller single-story mixed walk-up and interior climate access building. And this building, this particular structure here is behind a screened wall along the entirety of the property, so it's not necessarily going to be as visible from the street for those units that are actually accessed from the exterior. All right, so we did take the opportunity to put together some renderings to kind of better visualize for you what this facility will look like at the end. So this is just a shot from the front where we have the main office and the main drive-through entrance for the facility. So another shot here. And this is along the rear side of the facility. And then this is a shot here that kind of gives you a little bit of a visual for what that covered RV storage, outdoor covered storage may look like. Here's another view as well. And this is from the rear of the facility. This one is the view of the walk-up, mixed walk-up units and interior climate-controlled smaller building. All right, so this is just a description, a depiction of our unit mix here. As I mentioned before, so that main tunnel that you see in the center of the building right there, that's our interior drive-through loading. So all vehicular traffic for this particular building actually pulls in through the front of the facility here. And then we've got two access points from either side of the drive-through where you can pull in and you can access your units, whether it's units off of the main drive-through there or it's on the interior of the building. And then this is just a site layout for the facility itself. This one mainly shows the covered outdoor storage elevations for this. And then the rest of the presentation is mainly just some of the other required components of our trash enclosure storage. Here we've kind of put together a graphic of that main drive-through door that's used to access the drive-through storage. At one point, there was a little bit of a discussion on what this entrance actually looks like. So we wanted to depict here that this is actually a fully vision glazed high-speed door system. So it's a little bit more than just your regular roll-up door that you would see on any on an automotive facility or similar type. And then just a depiction of our site screen wall here.
Mr. Shank, can you tell how fast does the door go up?
Probably less than 10 seconds. It's really quick. It's slower on the way down, though.
Do you have somebody managing the loading and unloading in between and helping people in the process?
Not usually. It's a it's a self-storage facility, so generally people come in and they unload and load and unload themselves.
At one time?
So the drive-through is actually 30 feet wide. As part of the requirements from staff, we delineated 4 30-foot loading bays, so you can pull up, a 26-foot U-Haul per se in each of those. But there's 2 sides to it. So the middle aisle is 10 feet. That's just clear for vehicles to move in and out of the drive-through facility, and then there's loading on either side of the drive-through. So it's really wide. It can accommodate quite a few different vehicles, but self-storage, generally there's not a lot of vehicular or foot traffic all at once, accessing a self-storage facility.
What happens if you had like 2 or 3 cars trying to go through there at the same time?
It's 30 feet wide, so it's more than more than the width of a typical two-lane highway. So there's quite a lot of room for different vehicles.
Commissioner Coleman has this huge truck with a trailer on it behind it, so those cars will be able to get, or other vehicles will be able to get around it, huh?
There's plenty of room.
I'll be there to work on the elevators.
Okay.
How wide is the door that goes up and down?
So it's a 14-foot wide door, 14-foot clear height. And again, your typical highway drive aisle is actually 12 feet wide, so we're wider than that is.
Okay.
Looks like a pretty nice facility.
It is.
Yellow if it was gold or yellow and blue.
Yeah, gold and good.
That might help.
Like our high school.
All right. Any other questions for the gentleman?
We have one.
Any other questions for the gentleman?
First of all, I think the facility looks great. For anyone that's out there wondering or worried about, another storage unit, I mean, like the fire department, we're growing and we're gonna need variety. something and for those that's driven to Gainesville, right there where that Target Plaza is. I don't know if you guys have seen that storage unit, but do you really want something like that or something like this? I don't know if anybody's ever driven by Target and saw that. It's obvious. You see the glass buildings and you see everything. And so I like that you guys have actually confined, you hidden a lot of your RVs and a lot of stuff. So I love it. I think it's great.
Thank you.
Okay. We have no third-party interveners, public comments. 3 minutes for public comments. Seeing none. Does the applicant need to be cross-examined? Seeing none. Does the staff need to be cross-examined? Any questions for the staff? Members of the decision-making body? Can I have a motion? Motion from Commissioner Mazon, second from Commissioner Long. Any final arguments from the applicant? Seeing none. The city attorney will advise the decision-making body.
Because this is quasi-judicial, you'll base your decision on the competent substantial evidence that was either presented to you tonight at the hearing or that's in the backup materials to your agenda.
Thank you. And do we do ex parte? We did not do ex parte on this one, I don't think.
None.
None?
None.
None. From Donald too. Any deliberation of the application? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Ayes have it 4-0. Thank you.
Shane, thank you for all those trees. That's going to look very nice. We appreciate all the greenery.
Looking forward to it, and we really hope it serves the community well.
Good presentation, man.
Madam Attorney, would you read ordinance 2026-26 into the record, please?
I will. This is a legislative item. It's ordinance number 2026-26, petition number LDR 26-20, an ordinance of the City of Newberry, Florida, amending the text of the Code of Ordinances related to the regulation of outdoor dining / open-air restaurants and open-sided / freestanding commercial pavilions, providing for codification and correction, providing a severability clause, providing a repealing clause, and providing directions to the clerk and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Lauren, do you have any presentation? This is a second reading, so we've already been through this.
I think it might be the same as the previous. Let's see.
Anything new?
No, sir.
Would you have sat out there today?
Maybe not today. Maybe in October, November, December.
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay, can I have a motion from the commission?
So moved.
I got Commissioner Coleman for the motion, and I got 2 seconds.
No, you didn't. You got one before the other. You ain't listening.
One of them I like, one person I like though, and
The one you don't like said it. You got it.
second,
I wasn't going to say that.
second from Commissioner Mazon, Mr. Speedy. Any more discussion? Any discussion from the audience? All those in favor by signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Madam Attorney, can you read the record ordinance 2026-05, please?
This is item number 10, and this is a second reading or adoption reading for ordinance number 2026-05, petition number CPA 26-10, an ordinance of the City of Newberry, Florida, amending the future land use map in the comprehensive plan by changing the future land use category from agriculture to public facilities and land on 2 parcels identified as tax parcel numbers 02570-001-000 and 02571-001-000, providing for exclusion from codification, correction and directions to the city manager, providing a severability clause, providing a repealing clause, and providing directions to the clerk and an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Lauren, do you have anything else to say? This is a second reading also. Anything new you would like to add?
Well, just that this is, so it is a large-scale amendment, so it was sent to the state and state review agencies and other review agencies. And then there was it was an expedited review, so it's a 30-day review period for those agencies, and we didn't have any significant comments come back at all.
Thank you. What's the pleasure of the commission? Have a motion by Donald Long and the second from Commissioner Farnsworth. All those in favor signify, or do any comments from the audience? No. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. And thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Number
You
11.
can go home now. And finally, we have Rod to give a presentation regarding Champions Park South. Thank goodness.
You wait all night. Should have went with the other presentation.
All right, well, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Commission. For the record, my name is Rod Clark, Parks and Recreation Director. I stand before you tonight to revisit the Champions Park South Field discussion question. A couple of months ago, I brought that question before you, but at that time, there was no decision made. So there is that lingering question. But based on the conversation that we had last time, I think that there is another question that I need to answer as the Parks and Rec Director. And that question is, how are we going to use those fields and how are we going to use the gym at Champions Park? What I can tell you, well, I'll start with the fields themselves. The fields we as a staff plan to use the fields primarily for sports tourism, and then secondarily for recreation. As far as the gym is concerned, we plan on using the gym primarily for recreation and secondarily for sports tourism. I've mentioned to the board before that indoor playing space is one of recreation's highest needs right now. We are completely out of space, so that is the reason why we're doing that. And then, well, as a reminder, I want to let the commission know that you have given staff approval to move forward with plans to develop Champions Park South. And so in an effort to start the master planning process, staff would like the direction on the type of fields the commission would like to see at Champions Park South, whether it be multi-purpose, whether it be baseball, or a combination of both. I can tell you that based on our research, staff's research, we recommend multi-purpose fields, and we feel like they will be the highest and best use of the space around the gym at Champions Park South. However, staff stands ready to support whatever decision that the commission makes tonight.
Rod, when you say all-purpose fields, what all does that encompass?
So we're all-purpose or multi-purpose fields. These are basically, we have some of these, but these fields are basically wide open level spaces where you can play, you can utilize them for multiple sports. So soccer, flag football,
soccer,
tackle,
lacrosse.
lacrosse, you name it.
Croquet,
That's youth and adult.
Okay, and how many fields are you proposing?
Well, we don't know as many as we can get. I will say that. And so that's the plan. So once you make your decision, we will move forward on the master planning process.
And how many fields do we have over at Easton?
How many multipurpose fields do we have? We have three.
3
currently.
Okay. All right, any questions from the commission?
I have none. Y'all got it going on, we ain't worried about it.
You got your mic?
Well, because you're looking for direction on what kind of use for the fields, but like I said, with the indoor gym, that's something you need more access to. I think that'd be something good, but I watched the multi-purpose fields get utilized lately. I watched the flag football championship game this weekend. I was like, man, we need some of them games in Newberry. I mean, it was tons of kids and people, man. That sports, especially with it now going to the Olympics, that'll be a good attraction and good draw in the city of Newberry. So having an all-purpose field for that usage every year on top of the baseball, I think be a huge draw.
So we are, I think I mentioned to the commission in my last presentation that right now we don't have as many parents signing their kids up for a youth tackle football. So we have been focusing on growing our flag football program. And so we've been seeing some good success with that, and we anticipate that continue to grow, especially as we get more field space to be able to utilize. So that is our plan. So, you know, and there are other sports, you know, kickball. I watched the kickball championship on ESPN, you know, so we've started trying to, get people to register for that as well. So that's something that's new that we're doing. So we're trying to get as many people active, recreating in Newberry as possible.
That's a huge draw in the community, as people know we have recreation activities. A lot of people move to your cities specifically for that reason. So having more uses, more opportunity, I think gives us more opportunity for more people to move here and just take a claim here in Newberry. So I think we can utilize that south area a little bit more.
Absolutely. And I will say that we are getting more and more people from, out of the area who hear about what we're doing, and they come check it out and want to participate. So
people are praising our championship park. I mean, that's all you hear about. People loving coming out there after all the upgrades we've done. That's all you hear, the upgrades. So growing that'll be good.
So just imagine that. Just imagine the addition of the gym with 4 courts inside and the multi-purpose fields on the outside at Champions Park.
So the multi-purpose fields, they'll be used for,
Croquet.
I mean, mainly on the weekends?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, you mentioned the fields or the gym?
The fields.
Yeah, so the fields, so we'll utilize those on the weekends. I mean, when you're talking about travel, travel sports in general, mostly that takes place on the weekend. So usually starting on Thursday all the way through Sunday.
You're talking about increasing the flag football for the kids here in the.
Absolutely.
And so those can be used, we use those during the week, and then on the weekends you do it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission?
Yeah, man. Yeah, so all-purpose fields, man. Y'all were talking about flag football. That's great, but I'm thinking soccer, man. I mean, Jonesville's just like overwhelmed right now at that park.
Yeah.
I'm thinking soccer. I'm thinking lacrosse. I'm thinking there's multi-purpose fields. You could do more sports. Period.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, so similar to the fire department conversation, right? The decisions we make now are going to guide our actions for the next 2, 3, 4 years, right? So as you guys know, we put a majority of the Wild Spaces money into the gym. That gym was planned to be at Easton, but it was too small due to the limitations of the size of Easton, right? We also had some sinkhole issues. So you guys made the decision to move the gym to Champion South so we can get the size and get away from that sinkhole that we needed. We do not have enough money in the budget to do the increased size gym. So we had $6.5 million in that pot. We took $2 million to go and renovate Champions Park. That leaves us $4.5 million. We do have a donation coming from a landowner. We still need more. If the direction is all-purpose fields, and I think it's a good direction, they're the most cost-effective. It also potentially frees up some space at Easton, right, which is at this point landlocked. My recommendation is that we take that direction. Rod begins to work with an engineering firm to answer Commissioner Farnsworth's questions. How many fields can we get out there, right? And then we will come back to you and we will present 2, 3 renderings of how many fields we could, what the layout would be. We'll have a workshop, let the community talk about that, get that feedback, and then you guys will say, that's what I like, that's what we go do. Then we begin to go ahead and work on the fields. We plat, we know exactly where that gym's gonna be. We go ahead and do the fields. hopefully we start getting some of that revenue from a soccer tournament coming in, a lacrosse tournament coming in, flag football coming in. And then in 2031, when the next Wild Spaces comes up, then we will have planned designs, engineering plans. We'll be shovel ready to go, and we'll come back to you and say, okay, guys, here's the design, here's the plan. Now we have the funding. We still on this same page. But we will begin from this moment bringing you information on what can we fit, right? At the last presentation, I think it was 5 was sort of the minimal fields we need to be able to attract these tournaments. Obviously, the more you can get after that, the bigger the tournament you can have. But we need to at least be able to get 5. I think we know we can do that. Question is, what else can we get there?
Do we be sure to put enough money in the budget to relocate the Gophers?
We will absolutely. About $16,000 a gopher. There ain't any out there right now. I'm just stating that for the record. We have gone out there. There is no gopher there now. We're going to put a little gopher wall so no one can come over on the field.
Anything about pulling.
Yeah.
That was one of the issues we had with Champion Park. We had to relocate.
$16,000 a gopher.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some things.
Do you need a vote from the commission, or do you just need us to say go for it?
I think you're good on the path you're going.
Head nod.
Head nod's fine.
Sounds good.
Head nod.
Man, I'm behind you 100%, man.
Okay.
You know that.
Thank you. I don't know about that part, but I appreciate it. All right. Well, thank you.
Ron,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you. Thanks for waiting.
Oh, that's right. But I hear somebody down there politicking. Nah, man.
All right, moving on. Any citizen comments? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I almost didn't want to do this because it's late and I know y'all have had a long night. Greg Graydon, and I wanted to go ahead and do this in the event you have that workshop that Mr. Long mentioned. I sent an email, but there are a couple other things that came to light since then, so I wanted to bring this to your attention. At the last commission meeting and during the subsequent social media post, the city manager made a big point that there haven't been any official noise complaints regarding that commercial kennel application. I've received some advice that I should probably be papering the city walls with complaints, but I've just got a personal issue with that. That's just a concept I have an issue with. I'm not going to do that. You may recall the city manager has also routinely pointed out that what sort of noise environment people should expect when they live in the country. What he hasn't mentioned, or at least that I can recall, is what sort of neighbors they should also expect to encounter. Because as I explained to not only this board, but also the Planning and Zoning Board, the absence of any city-approved noise complaints does not mean that there's been an absence of noise. It simply means that there's been a presence of good country neighbors. I have faith that you gentlemen are clearly able to determine that an issue exists in this matter due to the people that presented to the Planning and Zoning Board, the people who have presented to you in this forum, the emails that have been written to this commission, at least one letter that I know the city received from an attorney, from another party's attorney, and all the individual conversations that have taken place. But if I'm wrong and someone somehow decides instead to rely on the repeated point that there was no official noise complaints made in this manner, and they washed their hands of this, they went home, looked themselves in the mirror and were able to sleep well at night, I would simply need to know what kind of mattress they use, because I need one of those. As for me, I'm not going to lower my personal standards and feed some sort of secret police style neighbor versus neighbor feud. That's just not who I am. Because even though I have admitted to you, I went to school in Chiefland, I've somehow been able to read and comprehend the existing codes without getting confused. But more importantly, and much more germane to this point, I'm also able to understand Matthew 22. And that was the minor item I wanted to let you guys know about. At the last meeting, Ms. Hectus dropped the bombshell surprise about the city's decision to change that terminal point for the separation distance from the property boundary to the nearest residence. I was over there leaning against the wall and furiously scribbling down a note about that. I completely missed the next point. She breezed over that the city staff wants to remove commercial kennels from special exceptions. What? Let's think about that. Before this issue came to light, commercial kennels were considered such a potential nuisance that if someone wanted to open one in a populated, agriculturally zoned rural area, they had to pass all of those thresholds that are involved with clearing all of the hurdles that I've been telling you guys about for the last several months. But now, it's apparently dawned on the city staff that there's no way it's going to be possible for that particular applicant and the city to get that done. And all of a sudden, this critical decision is simply going to be taken out of your hands, and it's going to be delegated to an administrative approval process. It's obviously an effort to slalom through this process to get one particular application around the obstacles in the existing code. I've consistently pointed out those obstacles, but what they're going to do instead, they're going to rewrite them a path, a fresh path. That path, though, is on a slippery slope. You gentlemen need to be careful if someone pushes you or pulls you out on a slippery slope. When you do this for that one applicant at our expense, you're then going to be obliged to forego that special exception process and approve the slaughterhouse, the sawmill, the crematorium, or any of the other potential nuisance sites that are listed right next to them in the special exceptions in section 445 of the current codes. If you create a rule specifically for one private property owner, you will have established a precedence that you have to allow for everyone else to be fair. Genies don't like to go back in bottles. Thanks for your time.
City manager comment.
Yes, sir. I want to announce a workshop this Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. This workshop will focus on our proprietary funds, utilities, water, wastewater, electric. I also want to thank the fire department for the cool down days. I have had rave reviews about those from kids and parents all over the place. So I thank you guys for working with, I think it was a union partnership, right? You guys got with everybody. So we appreciate that. That concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Madam Attorney, any comments? Ms. Clerk?
Nothing from me.
You have nothing? Nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
All right. Commissioner Maison.
Yes. Yeah, right? He did that on purpose, but that's all right. I'll go with it. No, he's good. I was gonna go along with our Marlowe's deal with the portable splash pads throughout the city of Newberry. Our fire department has been doing a phenomenal job. They were over in Newberry Place and Newberry Oaks, MLK, and this is one of those. This goes along with what Donna was saying earlier. Where do you think the county would be doing stuff like this? This is where it gets personal with our fire department. This is them going above and beyond with their citizens. So I want to thank them for that again. Phenomenal job. And I want to say that Mr. Mack, he's back. I saw him today. Man, he's been going through it. So keep that guy in your thoughts and your prayers. He's still going through it. He came back today, but he lost a lot of weight. He looked different to me. He don't have the beard anymore. I was delivering there today, and he looked. Hopefully, he ain't watching this. He looked bad. So just keep him in your thoughts and your prayers. All right. MLK, they have a backpack giveaway, and that's going to be this weekend. So anyone, backpack, supplies, etc., come up to MLK if you guys are in need of supplies, or you know of someone that's in need of supplies, give them the information so that they can come up there and grab some items that they may need. Also, Friday is movie night, and we're going to be premiering Swapped. Not sure if any of you guys have ever seen that movie. It's Swapped. It's a kids movie. It's a good movie though. It's not just a kids movie because I watched it and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So 7 o'clock 7 o'clock at MLK. At MLK, we're gonna be premiering swapped popcorn. We're gonna have popcorn. We're gonna have treats. We're gonna have drinks. We're gonna have pizza. So for anybody that wants to enjoy a movie at MLK, 7 p.m., come. I'll see you guys there because I will be there. I do have one other thing I wanna. You've been setting meetings with the attorney to discuss our LDRs. Is there any way we can put off accepting any applications until we get those taken care of? Don't nod your head because there's some stuff that's been said that's like,
I'm just making sure I had acknowledgement. So right now, SB 180 is saying you can't pass anything more restrictive, and there is no definitive end to SB 180, right? Now, I would leave it to the attorney to know the legality of setting a moratorium, but you would be setting a moratorium across the board, right? And it wouldn't stop, in my view, it wouldn't stop the things that are already approved, and we don't have anything. Everything that we're dealing with is already things that have been approved. Some of them have been approved 25, 30 years ago. So I think it's a very slippery slope. I think right now we're doing the work to have the results neutral. So clean up our code, clean up a lot of the contradictions, make our code much more manageable, reduce it down to something that, somebody can digest, and then collect all of the comments and make the changes that you guys want to the LDRs so that they're ready to go. So when SB 180 is lifted, we can submit it to the state right then. So we're not waiting at that point to get started. That's the path that we're on. If the commission desires a different path, I'm sure we can find an answer to that, but I would ask for a little bit of time to work with staff before we come and say, this is, how we would accomplish that goal.
Okay.
And the meeting with the attorney that we're setting up right now has more to do with rules of procedure, quasi-judicial, those kind of things than it does with the LDRs. Well, when we have those meetings, at this point, I think we're ready to have, we got to do the results neutral first. We got to get it cleaned up. Once it's cleaned up and there are no more contradictions and you have to turn to 15 different sections to understand what it's saying, that's when I think we can go back and say, okay, guys, here's Article 5. Here's what we've heard, right? What you guys are asking for, right? Is this what you want? Does that answer the question?
It does. In the process, I know we have things in the pipeline. So if a developer comes in and they want to move forward on a subdivision, how does that, we want bigger lots, but how does that, we can't, if we accept that application, then we can't, we're binded. So I don't want to do I do want to hold residentials, but
I think if the question is purely about lot size, then I think what you need to do is make sure that the applicant is defending, if they're asking for a PD, they're defending why that application is unique, creative, or innovative, because that's how you get a PD. So if they can't tell you why their application is unique, creative, or innovative, then we should ask them to do straight zoning. The smallest lot you can do in straight zoning is 50 foot. However, 50-foot lots probably do eliminate things like the townhouses, the duplexes, the things that the cottages, the tiny homes. Now, we have other ordinances that speak to those, right? But straight zoning is 50 foot. So it's just a question of lot size, right? Again, what I believe, though, is that the commission's focus on lot size is the wrong thing to focus on. Lot size is part of the equation, but I drive through neighborhoods all the time that have lot sizes down to 30 feet, and they're very attractive. They have a different product that they are offering, but if you've driven through Hale and you like Hale, there are lot sizes as low as 25 feet inside that. I think what I hear more and more from the commission is about landscaping, sidewalks on both sides, those kinds of things. So that's why I think let's finish the results neutral, and then let's really engage in that public conversation about what are we going to change, because the last thing I want to do after all these years of working on the comp plan, which we had to do to get to the LDRs, is then make the wrong changes and we're still not getting what the commission wants to get, right? And I'm not sure, I know we have kind of zeroed in on lot size as the issue. And again, it's part of it. I think we need a diversity. We need the 1 acre lots. We need the half acre lots. We need But I also think there's a place for duplexes, townhouses, apartments. What we need is a diversity of housing in Newberry. We got a lot of single unit residential. I'd like to see a little bit more variety.
I mean, I hear you when you say single residence, and I've driven through Hell Plantation, and it's beautiful. And I'll tell you this: there are larger lot size than what we have in Newberry. Now downtown, they're tight. There are townhouses. There's commercials, but as you drive further out, those lots get bigger, and the houses are beautiful on those lots. So in Newberry, all I'm saying is, people call them cookie cutters. They're so tight. I live in one, with a little bit bigger lot, but I'm trying to think of a house in the city of Newberry outside of like the 5 to 10 acre lots that you have where, on the outskirts, that holds a candle to Hell Plantation's lots that they have. I mean, you say diverse, but I'm sorry, I guess over here on the other side of Easton, right? That's probably one of the only subdivisions that I know of that has maybe they're on an acre or half an acre.
I think if you look at Countryway Town Square, you've got the commercial square.
Yeah.
You got cottages right behind that are on 30-foot lots. Then as you go deeper into that, you get more to the 120-foot lots, right? So if you're on the back where Naeem lives, those are 120-foot lots, right? So it's got that sort of stepping effect, right? So that you're creating the density in the center next to the commercial. And then as you move deeper in Countryway 2, which is yet to come in front of you, right? There's an opportunity to have a conversation with that applicant about, hey, we want to see more 1 acre lots there. But the idea is to take that same concept, what he is presenting so far in the application is larger lots to the south that would be adjacent to Newberry Ridge, larger lots around the outskirts. So I think that's what, in my mind, what the commission wants is neighborhoods that aren't all the same, right? So when you go into some neighborhoods, it's that, and I don't know if cookie cutter is offensive or not, but you get, it's very, it's all different shades of gray, right? It's the same model house, every third house, right? I think that's what we need to get away from. We need better landscaping and we need that diversity in. So I'm not looking at a row of houses that look pretty much identical.
I think we need diversity in houses.
Yeah, exactly.
Houses style.
Right. I agree.
Like size.
But I saw a very attractive 4-story townhouse this weekend that was very attractive. There were 10 of those units. Couldn't have been on an acre.
That was attractive.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a place for that. It's not every place.
Yes.
But there's a place for that in the community somewhere, right?
Yeah. I'm beating this dead horse. Let's go. Oh, which by the way, I heard that you jokers, kids pick their noses, but I find myself that you're born with a nose.
So I paused for that.
Yes, you did.
And Mr. Jabberjaws, I can't get a word in.
A Monty.
All right. I just want to start off by giving my condolences to Miss Sarah McKinney, her son Colton, and her son Quentin that passed away. I coached them boys, and it just breaks your heart when kids like that pass away too soon. So I give my condolences to her and her family. Know it's a tough situation to be in, but I got praying for them. I just want to talk about our conversation tonight. I mean, people don't miss stuff until it's gone. People don't value things until they don't have it. And too many times, I grew up and graduated from Newberry. I can remember when things wasn't as beautiful as they look now. The definition, as they say, the devil's in the detail. There wasn't a lot of detail in Newberry as there are now. You know, I mean, diverse in commercial and properties, but having our fire department, having people that can come out and do splash days or go in neighborhoods. And, people miss that. When you growing up, you used to love police and fire departments going in neighborhoods. People have lost that touch. They just see them as a service now. But those were men and women that provided more to a community than just a service. And I don't think we need to forget that. Just like Easton, the service that people love at our recreation, that's stuff we don't need to neglect. And people get too caught up with what something costs instead of what you're really getting out of it. And I think that's something that has to be promoted, has to be highlighted when we're having these discussions. It's not just about a service. What are we getting as a community? You know, people talk about community all the time. It's not just buildings and houses. It's the people, it's the impact people have, it's what people put into each other, it's the love we have for each other. That's what community is all about. And I don't think people talk about that. Never on Facebook. It's always the buildings, always houses, always roads. But the community is people getting out their house, getting able to see each other, you know, getting to know one another, you know. And I don't think that gets noticed enough or talked about when we up here. We just don't want this or we don't want to pay for that. But we got to focus on what community really means, and that's people. And I think having the quality of service that people love is all we need right now. So you got the floor, Monty.
Commissioner Coleman?
Okay. First off, I want a new laser pointer put up here. I mean, it's been like that since we got into this new building. So look, I want somebody to fix that laser pointer.
Amazon can get you one tomorrow.
It's on Amazon, I'm sure. All right, now I'm gonna get serious. Here's the deal. Once again, I voted yes for a subdivision. I know it's the last part of it. I did not want those houses. That Avalon Woods, I sat there and listened to that guy. When they started off that subdivision, all that in the front was supposed to be commercial. So I don't know where he got, well, it was, you know. So, you know, it's going to be residential or commercial. But where I'm going with this, I voted yes for it. You know why I voted yes for it? Because I don't want my city to get sued because of the laws that we have in the state of Florida. I voted yes because we have this stupid law, and it's stupid, called quasi-judicial. I hate it. Something needs to be done. I have went to plenty. I mean, I can remember back when old Yo-Ho was here. I was like, come on, man, we got to do something about this. But quasi-judicial ties the hands of every gentleman or whoever's in these seats that you got to vote yes. If the T's crossed, the I's dotted, you can't do anything. Personally, yeah, I don't want those houses there. But I have to vote yes because they did their due diligence and there's nothing we can do about it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And the rest of these that are coming down the board, as long as they got all the money to make everything, every T perfect and every I dotted, I can't. They got my hands tied. I don't want it. I do not want it. I need to get rid of quasi. There's other states that don't have quasi-judicial. This state does, which helps every developer out there. Not what the good interests of the people that live here. And I have brought this up time and time again for 15 years up on this dais. Tired of it. Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman.
No problem.
I have nothing.
You don't want to follow that up?
You've all spoken. Okay, I'll tell you something. Since it's only, 9:30, I got a phone book today from 1945. And I was looking through it, and it covered pretty much every city around, all the way down to Cedar Key, Trenton, Cross City, but it didn't have Newberry, High Springs, or Alachua in it. So I guess they were, at that time, they were in a different area or a different system. But I did find my grandfather's name, and he was listed in Tioga, which they used to call Jonesville all the time. I don't know how it became Jonesville, but it was Tioga. And the interesting thing was, it was long distance to Jonesville from Gainesville. And if you wanted to call Gainesville or Gainesville wanted to call you in Jonesville, it was 35 cents for 3 minutes is what you got. So I just kind of feel that's like $5. I looked at it, it was $5.11 for 3 minutes. That was big money. So I just thought that was kind of interesting in that there's a long distance just between those two short areas. And what is I going to say? I guess it wasn't too important. Oh, and of course, if you call an ambulance, you actually we're calling I should have brought the book with me, funeral home. And most of you guys are too young to remember, but if you got a phone call and the operator says long distance, you start yelling to your parents, it's long distance phone call, long distance, so they can get there quicker and not the person that calling wouldn't spend so much money. But anyhow, that's all I have. Just
I mean, for my time, so I'm just.
everything before your time, child. All right. Meeting is adjourned.